The Dark Souls series has always been a very queer series. On the surface, there's Gwyndolин's forced feminization and the gender change coffin in Dark Souls 2, but it's no surprise that if you look deeper, you can make an entire video on the queerness of the Dark Souls series. In Dark Souls 1 and 2, the relationships between the player and the NPCs carry a lot of this queerness. To clarify, when I say queer relationships in this video, I don't literally mean something like gay or lesbian intimacy, but rather the fact that the intimacy in these games is non-gendered. You can play as a woman and have the same interactions as a male player character would, and that is the point I'm trying to make. The relationship building is non-gendered. Unlike what the Steam tags say, this game is not a dating sim, so the relationship building is pretty much what the player makes of it. For example, regardless of which gender you choose, Solaire will always make that flirtatious remark.
You really are fond of chatting with me, aren't you? If I didn't know better, I'd think you had feelings for me. Oh no, dear me, pretend you didn't hear that.
And other NPCs have similar dialogues.
Pyromancer's flame is a part of his own body. The flame develops right along with his skill. When I gave you that flame, I gave you a part of myself. Please take good care of it.
These dialogues, including Laurentius's "Don't you dare go hollow," shares an intimacy that is present regardless of gender. This kind of thing is even more present in Dark Souls 2. Benhart and Lucatiel's questlines involve summoning and fighting alongside them, and each time you do, they have more dialogue about being at your side and sharing this camaraderie. Lucatiel especially confides in you when she tells you how the curse is affecting her and how she doesn't want to slip away.
I found my thoughts growing hazy. My memories are fading, oldest first. The curse is doing its work upon me. I am frightened. Terribly so.
Further on, Lucatiel also begs you to remember her name.
My name is Lucatiel. I beg of you remember my name, for I may not myself.
At the end of their quest lines, both characters share a final moment and give you their armor and weapons. This is especially important for Benhart, because earlier he said that if you wanted his weapon, the Moonlight Greatsword, albeit the fake one, you'd have to pry it from his cold hands. He also says that this sword is a family heirloom, yet by the end of his questline he offers a sword to you, signifying that he considers you close enough to be family.
Well, we meet again. What are you doing here? Who'd have thought we'd meet in a place like this? Fate just won't let us stay apart, will she? See, the old sword's caught your attention. Well, you've a good eye then. That has been in my family for generations. We have outwitted death a good many times. Oh, my dear friend, take these.
Dark Souls 3, on the other hand, is a lot more canonical and explicit with its romance. Like most things in these games, the things we've just talked about, are all speculatory, but this is the first game in this series where you can actually get into a concrete and stated relationship with an NPC. Through certain questlines, you can marry Anri. They will share dark sigils with you, emblematic of the Hollowing Curse, which carries major plot relevance, and they will even appear in the Usurpation of Fire ending cutscene. The reason I call Anri they is because they will actually be male or female depending on which gender you choose in character creation. Anri will always be the opposite gender, and unlike Dark Souls 2, there is no way to change your gender at all. Therefore, no matter what you do, you will always be forced into a heteronormative marriage with Anri. There are some queer elements in Dark Souls 3, however, such as the reversal ring. Before we talk about that, though, we have to talk about Gwyndolin from Dark Souls 1, who I mentioned in the intro. There's a lot of discourse about whether Gwyndolin is a trans woman, trans man, or simply a femboy. SolarPellets made a phenomenal video discussing gender and identity relating to Gwyndolin. Whether Gwyndolin identifies as a trans man, as argued by SolarPellets, or identifies as a trans woman or femboy, exemplifies how Gwyndolin is a queer character. Gwyndolin, under any assumption, is not cisgendered, and this is reinforced with the reversal ring. The reversal ring gives you the animations of the opposite gender, and that is the closest thing we have to gender change options in Dark Souls 3. In the item description, it stated that Gwyndolin wore this ring to be feminized according to their father's agenda. Gwyndolin was forcibly feminized, but even after their father's death at the end of Dark Souls 1, the ring's use was continued, implying that Gwyndolin prefers this gender swap, which further reinforces their place as a queer or trans icon. Overall, Dark Souls has quite a bit of queer representation. There's Gwyndolin, the non-gendered NPC bonding, and the gender change options. The only time it fails is in the only marriage option in the entire series, where you are forced to marry a character that is hardwired to be the opposite sex. There has been a lot of discussion about potential mods or ways to change Anri's gender, but this is something From Software has not implemented in the game. The problem with this is that Dark Souls is a role-playing game. The question I ask is, how can you truly roleplay if parts of your character and preferences are not expressible in the game? What I mean to say is, if you are queer, like this lady on the Dark Souls 3 subreddit, how can you truly immerse yourself in the world and roleplay if you aren't able to express your true romantic feelings in a game featuring romance? It seems the only way to do so is through mods. On a brighter side, times are changing, people are becoming more accepting, and there's a distinct shift in making video games more accepting as well. With From Software's other game, Elden Ring, you can marry Ranni regardless of your gender and she will be your partner by the end of the game. This change represents a step in the right direction towards queer acceptance and normalization in gaming spaces, and I hope to see this kind of change in future games and franchises.